Hello and welcome to Module 4. In this module, we'll be doing another bookmaker sign up and first deposit match offer. And the bookmaker we'll be signing up to in this module is Sportsbet. This time we're going to take a more in-depth look at the influence of bankroll, and more specifically, how the selection of your trades influence the amount of money needed in your Betfair account. So to get started, we'll click on the link that'll take us over to Sportsbet, and we'll click join now, and we'll go ahead and fill in our details. And again, we want to make sure that these details are exactly the same as what we have on our license, as all of these details are going to be verified against our license. Again, with the passwords, we want to make sure that we have a unique password for each bookmaker account. So don't use the same one that you used for the tab account. And you'll also want to make sure that you keep track of these passwords, since we're going to have a unique one for each bookmaker. Now, a little banner has popped up the top there for me that says you have successfully verified. Now, we will double check this later when we go into the account to make sure that we have nothing left to verify. But if you see that, it means that they've automatically been able to verify your identity without you actually putting forth your driver's license details. Again, with the deposit limit, you can decide whether or not you want to set one, but for our purposes, it's better not to set a deposit limit. Now, it's going to prompt you to make a deposit, but we haven't received a first deposit match offer yet, so we will make sure that we click away from that. So now we'll head over to our account, and here, if you don't see anything next to your name there that says unverified, or that the account needs to be verified in any way, then you're good to go. If you do need to still verify the account and it didn't work automatically, you can head over to the links on your right, the link on your right that says how do I verify my account online, or you can go down a little bit to the live chat or the email link, and they will help you out. Again, if you deposit money into your bookmaker account and your account isn't verified and you are unable to verify the account, you can end up with money stuck in the bookmaker account. So we definitely want to make sure that we are fully verified, and then we can go ahead with our deposit. And you'll also want to take account of your account number there and put it with the bookmaker passwords and account details that you have somewhere safe. Now, unlike tab, we don't receive our deposit offer straight away on the homepage. And this is the case with most bookmakers. You have to wait to receive the offer, and usually receive that via text or email. Now, for Sportsbet here, I've waited 2 days and I received this text here. And after I've seen that, I've come onto my account here, and you can see that it says you have one exclusive offer. And if we click that, and this is pretty much exactly the same offer as tab. It's a 100% deposit match up to $100. Now, if you don't receive any deposit offers and you've waited several weeks, then there's a couple of options. If you want, you can find another bookmaker. Basically just sign up to a few of them and, wait a couple days, maybe wait a week, and at least some of them will send you some offers. There are plenty of bookmakers out there that offer first deposit match bonuses, and it shouldn't be too hard to find one. If you'd prefer to be able to follow along directly like we did with the last module, then feel free just to follow along with the module without actually placing in either deposits or the bets, and then try to pick up in terms of actually depositing and placing bets in the next module. Now, if you've received that text or email, you can head straight over to the deposit page and enter in our card information. And we're going to deposit 100 because we want to max out our deposit match and get as much bonus as possible. And once that deposit's come through, you should see there that you have the $100 in bonus bets sitting there. And you'll see there you also have the option to split up the bonus bets either by 2, 3 or 4. Again, as we covered in module 3, it's only really necessary to split them up if you have a limited bankroll. So the split option is available there if you need it. And then we'll start off by heading over to the Bonus Bank ATM. We'll set up the ATM. And we'll start by heading over to the SNR column and clicking until we have one downward arrow. Of course, we're clicking SNR because we are doing a bonus trade, not a qualifying trade. We'll select our bookmaker and then we'll set our market at match odds. And then we'll also set our max lay odds at 8. Now, with regards to how the amount of money needed in your Betfair account for a particular trade is influenced, there is really two main factors. Number one, as we covered in module 3, is your back stake, which in this case is the size of our bonus bet. Number 2 is the lay odds. Now, to make this a bit easier, I'm actually going to pull up the bonus trade calculator so we can enter in some values and see how it influences our liability, the amount needed in our Betfair account. So now we're going to take an example from the ATM. So we'll head over and I can see one here. It's an EPL game between Chelsea and Leeds. And we have back odds of 5.5 and lay odds of 6. And because it's an EPL game and it's soccer, we're going to assume that the commission is 5%. So we'll enter 5.5 and then 6. And this is just an example, so you don't have to follow exactly with what I'm doing. This is more to show you how inputting these different variables is going to influence our amount needed in our Betfair account. And let's assume in this one we're doing a full $100 turnover. So now that we've entered that, we can see that our lay stake is $75.63, the amount that we need, the lay stake that we need to put on Betfair. And we'll see that our liability is $378.15. And as you can see on the calculator, it also says amount needed in Betfair account. Because again, amount needed in Betfair account and liability are the same thing. So to be able to execute this trade with the full $100 bonus bet stake turned over all at once and the profit of $71.85, we would need $378.15 in our Betfair account. Now, for some of you, that's perfectly fine. If you have a larger bankroll and you're able to put more money into your Betfair account, then generally it's going to be easier for you and you'll be able to turn over your bonuses regardless of lay odds or the size of your bonus bet stake. Now, if you don't have a bankroll that's big enough where you can execute trades like this one and comfortably have over $378 in your account, then you can skip ahead to when we actually execute our trade. However, if you have a smaller bankroll, then this might be of some help. So we're going to assume that we have a total sports trading bankroll of $200. So we've already put $100 into our Sportsbet account. That means we have $100 left over to use in our Betfair account. So if we're dealing with a bankroll that small, then the first thing we want to do is head over to Sportsbet and we'll split our bonus into 4 $25 bets. Now this is just going to mean that we're going to be able to place our trades in smaller portions and not require as much money in our Betfair account. So if we assume that our bonus stake is now $25 and we put that into the calculator, we'll see that the new amount that's needed in our Betfair account is $94.54. Perfect. That is within our bankroll of $200, which is obviously 100 in Sportsbet and 100 in Betfair, and that is only taking $94.54. So that would work. However, you need to bear in mind that you will have to wait for the event to conclude and for the money from either Betfair or Sportsbet to pay out. So you can then do your next trade, and you'll have to obviously do that 4 times to be able to turn over the $100 in bonuses. And if you are doing the 4 $25 bonus trades and waiting until the funds come back into your account once the trade is concluded to then be able to place the next trade, you do want to make sure you're aware of the expiry of the bonuses, and just make sure that you're getting all your bonuses turned over and your profit converted before the expiry of those bonuses. So if you're placing $25 trades and you only have maybe a week until the bonuses expire, then you'll want to make sure that when you're trading, you look to see that the event that you're trading on, whether it's a football match, AFL match, that it finishes no more than a day after you've placed your trade, because then as soon as possible you want to be able to receive the money plus your profit back, so you can then turn over the rest of your bonuses before they expire. Now, another factor that influences the amount of money we need in our Betfair account, the liability, is the lay odds. So we're going to do another example, and this time, instead of having back odds of 550 and lay odds of 6, we're going to have lay odds of 8 and we're going to have back odds of 7.6. So now, even though we have put in the same $25 bonus stake, because we've changed the lay odds, we now need more money in our Betfair account. And that $145.28 is greater than our $200 bankroll. So we won't be able to execute this trade. Now, because that's greater than my example bankroll we're running off here, what I'll do is I'll head back to the ATM and I'll have a look at some trades here that have lower odds. So if we look at the one we were on before, you can see 5.5 back odds and 6 lay odds. So if we go back to our calculator and we enter that, then we're at $94.54 as the amount needed in our Betfair account, the liability. So I can go ahead with this trade. So what we should take away from this is, if you are operating with a smaller bankroll of say $200 or $300, the two things that you can do to reduce the amount of money that's required in your Betfair account to be able to execute the trades is, one, to split up your bonus bet, and usually the most you can do that by is 4. And of course the other is to look for trades on the ATM that have lower lay odds. And of course you're still going to be looking for the trades that give you the highest percentage return on your bonus. Now, generally when you decrease the lay odds on a bonus trade, it does generally relate to a lower return on the bonus. So if you have a larger bankroll, you definitely want to go ahead and turn over all your bonus in one trade, and don't try to look for any trades that have lower lay odds. Just go with whatever has the highest percentage return when you're looking on the ATM. Now, as I said, the lower the lay odds, generally the lower return on your bonuses. That's just something that comes with operating with a smaller bankroll. You're not going to return as much money on average as someone who has a much larger bankroll and is not limited at all by the size of the lay odds. Now, for the people that are doing their trading with a larger bankroll, perhaps up to and over $1,000, then what you can do is actually head over to the ATM, and where we've normally put a $8 max lay odds limit on the ATM, you can just go ahead and delete that. And what you actually see is generally much higher returns on your bonus. And this is, like I said, generally the higher the lay odds, the higher percentage return you're going to be receiving on your bonus bets. So we see here that the top result has a percentage return of 77.43%. Whereas if we take it back down to 8 again, we'll see that the best we can do is 72.5%. But going forward with the trades that I'll be doing, I'll be setting the max lay odds at 8, just because that represents the average bankroll of about $400 to $700. So yeah, if you're doing your trading with a larger bankroll up over $1,000, then you can take that limit off. But as you'll see, you'll obviously get a higher return. You know, the back and lay odds here on the top result here are 14 and 16. So if we go and enter that in the calculator, you'll see that for that trade, if you're turning over all of your bonus, you'll have to have over $1,200 in your Betfair account. So if you have that money, go ahead and take the limit off. If you are, operating with an average bankroll of $400 to $700, then you can just follow along with my examples. And if you're using a smaller bankroll where you might only have $200 or $300, then you can use the methods we've gone through here of splitting up your bonus bets and also looking on the ATM to find trades with lower lay odds. So now that we've covered that, we can go ahead with our bonus trade. Make sure we have our max lay odds set back to 8. And we can see the top one here, we have a return of 72.5%, which is good. That's up over our 70% threshold and has a max back stake of $272.82, which is perfect. Our back stake, our bonus bet, our bookmaker bet is only $100. Normally we would copy and paste our selection here from the ATM straight onto the bookmaker. Now with Sportsbet, I do have some trouble generally using the search function. So we'll head over to Sportsbet and we'll just find the selection manually. And for that, the information here on the ATM is going to help us. So if we look over to the left, we'll see the little soccer ball icon there. So that means that this is a soccer game, and it tells us that the league is the UEFA Champions League, and we know the event is Bayern Munich versus PSG. So we'll head over to Sportsbet. We'll go to Sports and then scroll down to Soccer. And we'll go to All Soccer. And then we can see there we have UEFA competitions. And then you click UEFA Champions League. And there's our game, Bayern Munich versus PSG. And then if you need to double check that that's the correct game, then we'll select PSG. So we'll copy our selection and then we'll paste it over at Betfair. And here obviously searching is an issue, so we can just put that straight into the search bar. And then we'll select the lay option for PSG. And then we'll open up our bonus trade calculator. We'll start by putting in the back odds, which is our bookmaker odds. And then we get our lay odds, which is from Betfair. We have our bonus bet stake of 100. And then our commission, we will again check by heading over to Betfair and clicking on the little I. It should be right there. And we'll click enter there. And then we'll see our lay stake pop up, which is $76.32 in this case, and the amount needed in our Betfair account at $217.50. I should also mention that normally with the ATM set at max lay odds of 8, and if you're turning over the full $100 bonus, you're normally going to need more than what we have here in your account. It's just that at the time that I'm executing this trade, there happens to be some lower odds that are quite close together. But again, normally with this sort of full $100 bonus trade with a max lay odds of 8 set on the calculator, you'd normally expect $500 to $600 will be needed in the Betfair account. So again, now that we have our lay stake, we'll copy that from the calculator. We'll head over to Betfair and we'll paste that in. Once that's in, we can head back to the calculator and we can start doing our final checks. So we have back odds of 390. Head over to the bookmaker, make sure that's still the same. Remember with the bookmakers as well, with Sportsbet, you want to look on the bet slip because those are the current odds, not on the main display. And if you do encounter any changed odds as you're doing your checks, that's all right. Just copy the new changed odds in, recalculate your lay stake, and then copy and paste that new lay stake into your Betfair selection. And then we'll check our lay odds, which are at 385. And we'll head over to Betfair, make sure that hasn't changed. And then again, we'll look at our liquidity. It says 280. And we head back in the ATM and we see that Betfair is still the same as what we had originally on the ATM. And if you've found that the liquidity has changed on Betfair compared to what you had originally on the ATM, then you'll just want to make sure that you have auto refresh on the ATM, and then whatever the change liquidity is on the ATM, if it has changed, you'll just do what you did when you were first looking at the selection, hover your cursor over and make sure that that max backstake number is still greater than your bonus bet. In this case, it's $272.82 still, and that's perfect. That's, of course, greater than our $100 bonus stake. And then if the liquidity has changed so that the max back stake is now below 100 and you can't do your $100 bonus trade, that's all right. You'll just have to look down a bit further to a trade where the max back stake is, of course, above 100, and then re-enter and do all of the steps that we just did based on the new trade and the new selection. So now that we can see that the liquidity checks out, we can head back to the calculator. We'll look at bonus bet stake, and our bonus stake is 100, so we make sure that we select bonus bet on the bet slip, and it should come straight up with your bonus there. And then we'll double check our commission over on Betfair, and then we'll do our lay stake, $76.32. And then last but not least, our liability, which is the amount needed in our Betfair account, but of course on the Betfair bet slip it will be listed as liability. So we got $217.50. Again, there can be a 1 to 2 cent discrepancy between the calculator and the actual bet slip. This is just the rounding of the calculator, so you don't need to worry that your bet is incorrect in any way if it's off by 1 or 2 cents. So once we've done all our checks and we know that everything's good, we'll head over to Sportsbet first. Always place your bookmaker bet first. We'll click place bet, confirm bet, and Sportsbet might ask you whether or not you want to enable quick bet. We're going to make sure that we click no, because quick bet basically just means that, as it says there, that you can place your bet by only clicking once. You don't have to click confirm. And generally I find if I have that not enabled, it means that I make less mistakes. And I think it's a good idea to have it not enabled, because it makes you far less likely to make a mistake once your bet slips up. Because if you accidentally click it once, then the bet will go straight through and it might not be the bet that you wanted. And then we'll do the same with Betfair. We'll head over, we'll click place bet, confirm bet. And we'll make sure that we have all of our bet there listed under matched bets. If the entire lay bet that you tried to put through is listed under unmatched bets instead of matched bets like it is here, then what you want to do is click the button that says cancel unmatched above. And once you've done that and cancelled your unmatched bet, you can go back to the calculator and enter the new changed lay odds. And then once you've done that, you can recalculate your lay stake according to the new lay odds and place your new lay bet. But if instead part of your lay stake has gone through and is listed under matched bets, and then the rest of your lay stake has not gone through and is listed under unmatched bets, then what you'll need to do is head over to the sublesson titled partially matched bets. And there you'll be able to get the rest of your lay bet matched so that it matches the back bet that you've just placed. If the bet has completely gone through and it's all listed under matched bets, that's perfect. That means you've completed your bonus trade. And then if we head back to the calculator, you can see that we've made $72.15. So now that we've turned over our bonus, our next step, like we did last time with Tab, is to turn over our $100 account balance. Now, before we go ahead, something to bear in mind is that for your qualifying trade, you will need money in your Betfair account. So again, if you have just placed your bonus trade and you have no money left in your bankroll, then you'll have to wait for the event to finish so you can receive your profit plus your bankroll back into your account, whether that's on Betfair or Sportsbet. And then you will be able to go ahead with the qualifying trade. And if you have split up your bonus because you have a smaller bankroll, then you want to make sure that you turn over all of those split bonus bets. So let's say you split the $100 bonus bet into 4 $25 bonuses, then you'll want to go through and turn over each of them, even if, that takes you a couple of weeks. You want to make sure that you turn over the bonuses first and you make that your priority, especially since there will be an expiry on the bonuses, and you'll want to make sure that you take a look at that and try and plan the amount of bonus you're turning over and how frequently you're turning over, so that you've placed all your necessary bonus trades to turn over that full $100 in bonus before the expiry of the bonus bets. And before we go any further, we want to log our trade into our bet tracker. And if you don't have your bet tracker set up, then you'll want to head over to module 3 and go to the sub lesson for how to use the bet tracker. And if you haven't already logged the trades that you placed over on Tab, then you want to make sure that those are logged as well. As a general rule, you do want to make sure that you log your bets as you go. Otherwise, it can be a bit of a pain to have to go back through your betting history and log all these different trades from different points in time. It's just much easier to log the trades as you go. So as long as you've got some money in your Betfair account, we're good to go. And we'll start by heading over to the ATM. So we'll make sure that we click until we have one downward arrow on the SR column, this time not the SNR column. We'll head over to bookmaker, make sure that we check Sportsbet. And we'll make sure that we still have match odds set as our market. And as you can see here, all of the lay odds that we have here are quite low. So from what we learned earlier about how the lay odds influence the amount that we need in our Betfair account, and we showed that the lower the lay odds, the less money you needed in your Betfair account to be able to execute the trade. So as you can see here, all of these lay odds are quite low. So where we were dealing with, $6 or $7 as the lay odds for our bonus trade, the lay odds that we're dealing with here for our qualifying trade are usually in the range of, $1 to $3. So it's for that reason that we don't need to set a max lay odds, because the trades that the ATM will give us for a SR, for a qualifying trade, are almost always going to be very low. So the amount of money we need in our Betfair account to be able to execute these qualifying trades is also quite low. So like we did last time, we will look at the percentage loss first. And as we can see up top here, we have a 0.5% loss, which is very good. Our target is to lose no more than 5%, so minus 0.5% is very good. Next thing we look at is the liquidity to see if we can actually place this lay bet here. So we'll head over to liquidity and we'll see that our max back stake here is $525.14. That's perfect. Our back stake is only $100 because we are, of course, turning over our full $100 balance that we deposited to get our bonus. So now that we've seen that our percentage loss is below 5% and that our liquidity has a high enough max back stake that we are going to be able to place this trade, we'll start to find our selections. And remember, the search function on Sportsbet can be tricky, so instead of copying the team name here, we'll take a look at the sport, which is AFL, and the game is Richmond versus Carlton. We know that the market is match odds, and that our selection here will be Richmond. So we'll click Sports, and we'll go to AFL, and we'll see our event here, and we'll double check that it is Richmond versus Carlton. We'll head back to the ATM. So we'll click Richmond and we'll get it up on the bet slip. Next we'll head over to Betfair, and this time obviously we can use the search function, so we'll copy both teams here and paste it in the search bar. And we'll select Richmond. Remember to select the pink box because that's the lay option. And then we'll head back to the module homepage and we'll click on the qualifying trade calculator. And then we'll start entering in our values under the calculator. So we'll do our back odds, which are 1.77, and then our lay odds, which are 1.74, and our back stake will be 100 because we of course want to turn over the full $100 in our account. The lay commission, once again we'll head over to Betfair, we'll click on the little eye, and that's telling us 5%. And then once we click enter, our lay stake should pop up here, $104.73. And we have a guaranteed loss here of 50 cents, which is actually quite good. Of course, our target is to have a maximum loss of 5% or less. So in this case, it would be $5 or less. And 50 cents is, minus 50 cents is actually quite good. And you'll also see that the amount needed in the Betfair account, here it's $77.50, is comparatively quite small, obviously, to the amount needed when we did our bonus turnover. But again, if you don't have the amount of money that's showing up on your calculator in your Betfair account, then that's okay. You'll just have to wait until the money from your bonus trade comes back through, the profit and also the portion of your bankroll that you put in. And then once that money is back, you'll have some money back in your Betfair account. and you'll be able to do your qualifying trade. So now we'll copy that lay stake and we'll head over to Betfair and we'll paste that in. And now it's time again to check everything against the calculator. So start with the back odds, make sure that they're good, head over to Sportsbet. Make sure the lay odds are good, head over to Betfair. And then we'll also check liquidity, make sure it's the same as we originally had on the ATM. And again, if it's changed at all, you just make sure that you refresh the ATM. And then if the selection no longer has enough liquidity for you to be able to make the trade with a $100 max back stake, then of course you'll have to find a new selection to trade on and redo the calculations. But as long as that number's still the same as on the ATM, it's good. And then we'll check our back stake, make sure that we've entered 100 on the bet slip. Then our lay commission, double check that. Our lay stake here at $104.73, so make sure that we've got that correct. And finally, the amount needed in our Betfair account, also known as a liability. Double check that on our Betfair bet slip, make sure that's the same. And now that that's all checked, we'll again start by placing our bookmaker bet first. So we'll do that over on Sportsbet. And we can see that the bet's gone through. We'll go over to Betfair, do the same thing. Place bet, confirm bet. And again, we'll make sure that the entire bet has been matched and there's no portion of the bet is unmatched. Again, if that does happen, you make sure that you click X and cancel the unmatched portion of the bet, and then head over to the sub-lesson of this module titled Unmatched Bets, and then you'll be able to sort it out from there. Where again, I'll be able to show you how to get the rest of your bet matched. So now that's gone through, I'm just going to head back over to the calculators so we can calculate here how much we've made between our bonus trade and our qualifying trade. So on our bonus trade, we made $72.50. And then on our qualifying trade, where we turned over our $100 balance that we had to do, we lost 50 cents. And that gives us a total profit of $72. Now again, yours is of course going to be different to that, perhaps slightly higher or lower, but likely similar to a profit of around $70. So that's it for this module. If you guys had any problems with some of the terminology mentioned in this module, then you can head over to lesson resources and there's a glossary there at the bottom. If you had any other questions about any of the concepts covered in this video or anything else, then you can head over to the module description and you'll see a link there that will take you straight to the help email.